it's Beth from Spari, and we've been so excited about all the feedback we got from last week. We can tell that this idea of balance really struck a chord with people. So if you haven't tuned in yet, I'll fill you in. I'm sharing over the last 2 weeks and the next 2 weeks my top 4 pieces of financial advice. The idea is people, when I'm out and about, they say, "Hey, Beth, what are your greatest ideas of financial advice?" And I'm here to share these with you. And as I've said before, you may be thinking that I'm going to give you really specific pieces of information, and that's not the case. I'm going to talk about mindset, financial mindset. And that is because so many people, they know what they should be doing. They know they should be saving more and having less credit card debt. However, so few people are able to do it. And that's because really the change has to occur in our minds. Their mindset changes. So this week, we're going to talk about how to improve and to get financial peace with your spouse. Many of you may know that money issues are the #1 cause of fights in marriage. This is a serious issue. I have couples come in all the time who are having arguments about money, and it is just destroying their marriage. So today I'm going to talk about some ideas to help you with this. So in this theme of talking about keeping financial advice with your spouse, I'm going to talk about 2 really critical ideas. And the first is all about focusing on the big picture. And so often when we're married and with our spouses, we tend to get into little arguments over all the little small things. And that just adds up to be something not pleasant and gets bigger over time. So what I'm going to encourage you all to do is focus on the big picture. So let me tell you a story to help this resonate. When my husband and I were first married, I remember he was going to Home Depot all the time. He was coming back with a little piece for this project and that, and I would get so furious. That's because I just wanted to save money into our savings account, into our Roth IRA, and every time he would come back from Home Depot, I would just think, he is committing financial suicide in our relationship. I just felt like we were probably heading in the wrong directions, all because of these Home Depot trips. Well, so what I decided to do at that point was take a closer look at our expenses. And I realized that these Home Depot trips only represented about half of our expenses. It was such a small part. And on the flip side, he was so happy to go do this. He loved going to Home Depot and picking out things to do all of his projects. So what I realized was these trips to Home Depot were such a small piece of our financial life. And the bigger picture is that we wanted to have a happy marriage and be on track financially. So anyways, what I would suggest again is just focus on the big picture and not pay attention to these little small things that really don't amount to much. Okay, the second idea that I'm going to talk about to keep financial peace in your relationship is to understand where both you and your spouse have come from. That's because money is such a powerful force in our lives. And depending on what our experiences were in the past, it can have a very strong impact on our marriages now. Now, it can require deep therapy to really deal with this, but I'm just going to talk about a few ideas that I really think are going to provide some value to you and your spouse. And again, I want to tell a story about this. I had a client come in just the other day, and the wife was brought up in a family where the father never had steady work. So they were constantly not only worried about paying the bills in her household growing up, but sometimes they weren't able to pay the bills in the house. So she has brought that fear, that deep fear that she had as a child to their relationship. And because of that, she wants to save every single penny. She wants to know that they are prepared for what may happen. Now, I'm not going to discourage good saving habits, but as I talked about last week, it's all about balance. Because what her husband wants to do is he wants to go on a very modest vacation with their family. Now, this is a couple, they have plenty in an emergency fund. They're saving great for their goals. And yet she had a very, very difficult time releasing the idea of going on this vacation. She wanted to be able to save this money instead. So we talked through a lot more about what their goals were. I talked about the idea of balance. And so now they've decided that yes, they are going to go on this vacation. And what's more is it put this couple in so much of a better position to have this conversation. once the husband realized what was fueling his wife's strong desires to save, it just helped out the marriage so much. So here's the great news. I actually have more information that I'm going to be talking about on this topic in the next few weeks. So many of our clients and our followers are always asking about this topic, so stay tuned. Also, as I've mentioned before, we're ironing out the final details for our secret project, and we're going to be releasing that in just a couple weeks, so stay tuned. But in the meantime, just take a minute, write a comment below, talk about how you and your spouse are going to find a way to get on the same page and reduce your money stress in the next month. Until next week, I'll see you then.